Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the recording for skills at the rate 100 where for 100 days we are bringing for you 100 different speakers from all over the country. The topic today is building desktop application using Python. The speaker is Pranab Tusiyan, who has amazingly and in a very descriptive manner has depicted how we can create our own desktop application using Python in a step-by-step way. More of him in the link in the description of this video. Also, this video is sponsored by Soulful Success Academy by Komal Botra, who is a passionate life and mindset coach. She has trained over 500 plus professionals and individuals help achieve their full potential. More of them in the link in the description. So now, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Hello everyone, welcome to Skills at the Rate 100 live class today. And we have a very special speaker. Why I'm saying special? Because they are really special. About them, the speaker name is CA Pranav P. Tulsyanji. He is the Assistant Director at PPAC, Petroleum Planning and Analysis Cell. Okay, and the best thing that जितना भी appreciate करूँ कम है, he is all India rank 1. So that is something beyond words for me, and मेरा भी सपना था रैंक लाने का लेकिन ला नहीं पाया, बट आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट एटलीस्ट आई कुड मीट समवन. तो हमने आई जस्ट शेयर अ फन फैक्ट दैट पहले हमने बात करी, बाद में जब मैंने देखा, बाद में देखा कि इनका लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल, एंड आई वाज रियली शॉक्ड कि भाई ओ गॉड. तो प्लस उनका भी जो एक गोल है, प्रणब जी का भी जो एक गोल है, ब्रिंगिंग टेक क्लोजर टू ह्यूमंस. बस always he is working towards the goal that an 11-year-old can understand tech. If it is not so simplified, that means the app is not simplified one. So he is very good at Python, building apps and everything. So we have connected with him, and very humble enough of him to accept our proposal. Thank you Pranab ji, over to you. Thank you so much once again. I'll stop my screen.
Okay, thank you so much, Lokesh, for the introduction, and it's wonderful to see everyone, the participants. And वैसे अगर video on कर लोगे कोई तो I guess it would be good. Otherwise, no issues. My voice might be little clear नहीं होगा. I was थोड़ा सा मेरे को feverish था, so I couldn't. So इसलिए I was very skeptical कि whether I will be able to join or not. But ठीक है, thankfully I guess I'm fine right now. So yes. So ठीक है. As sir said, so we will be discussing about desktop application, that how we can create the desktop application, and my main move has always been कि technology हम हमेशा, someone can confirm if we are okay with English or Hindi, someone in chat.
या mix करके आप बोल सकते हैं English हिंदी,
है ना. So मेरे को from the very beginning, since I have started working in the company, मेरे को लगता था कि the work of finance काफी कुछ एक्सेल में काम करते हैं, लॉट ऑफ मैनुअल थिंग्स आर बीइंग डन. एंड जब भी हम कोडिंग या टेक को देखते थे ना, तो आईटी डिपार्टमेंट रहता है, तो हमें लगता है यार कुछ बहुत ही टेक्निकल चीज हो रही है, लाइक समवन से ना देयर अ टेक्निकल ग्लिच. सो उसके आगे फिर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं करता ये क्या ग्लिच हुआ है, तो वो टेक्निकल बोलते लगता है कि बहुत इज समथिंग बियॉन्ड वी कांट अंडरस्टैंड. सो दैट इज वेयर द क्यूरियोसिटी स्टार्टेड टू सी कि व्हाट गोज बियॉन्ड एप्लीकेशंस, जो भी हम चीजें यूज कर रहे हैं अपने मोबाइल के अंदर, अपने डेस्कटॉप के अंदर, इसके अंदर है क्या चीज, कि हाउ आर दैट एबल टू वर्क, कि मैं एक बटन क्लिक करता हूँ वो काम हो जाता है. सो हाउ डज दिस थिंग्स वर्क. सो द क्यूरियोसिटी स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम देयर. स्टार्टेड डूइंग पाइथन कोडिंग फ्रॉम 2020 से स्टार्ट किया, एंड देन स्टार्टेड माय यूट्यूब चैनल एज वेल वेयर आई टीच पाइथन. एंड मैं पाइथन उसी वे में सिखाता हूँ, बिकॉज मुझे भी शुरू में बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स लगता था सीधा कोडिंग देखना है. सो आई नो कि एक कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड का एक जो भी स्टूडेंट है या जो पर्सन है, उसको कैसे समझ आएगा विद रिलेटिंग इट विद एक्सेल, रिलेटिंग इट विद द डे टू डे कॉन्सेप्ट विद द यूज. सो दैट हैज बीन द गोल. सो वही गोल से आज भी ट्राई करेंगे दैट यू गेट अ वेरी गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशंस एंड हाउ दे वर्क एंड हाउ वी कैन क्रिएट इट. सो ठीक है, होपिंग द स्क्रीन इज विजिबल. देयर इज स्मॉल पीपीटी आई प्रिपेयर्ड, है ना. सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशंस and its creation with AI. So main agenda आज का ये रहेगा कि हम जो हम सुनते हैं ना फ्रंट एंड एंड बैक एंड, डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन में फ्रंट एंड बैक एंड होता क्या है, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस, एंड हाउ डज इट लुक लाइक एक्चुअल में, प्रैक्टिकली दिखता कैसा है. एंड देन आई विल शो अ स्मॉल डेमो ऑफ वन जीएसटी एप्लीकेशन व्हिच आई हैव क्रिएटेड, एंड द कोड वगैरह, एंड देन वी गो टू द कोड लेवल अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि ये बाइफरकेट कैसे होता है. एंड देन वी विल try to create a live app through AI so that you get an understanding. तो बिफोर वी स्टार्ट, तो एक वो लगता है कि डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन हमें क्यों बनाना है, किस टाइप के वर्क में हमें डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन काम आएंगे. तो सिंपल आंसर इज कि जो भी काम हम डे टू डे वर्क में कर रहे हैं, अगर वो ऑटोमेटेबल टास्क है, जो भी काम हम ऑफिस में करते हैं, तो वो काम एनी ऑटोमेटेबल टास्क के लिए वी कैन क्रिएट अ डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन. ठीक है. नाउ व्हाट इज एन ऑटोमेटेबल टास्क? तो इसका एक सिंपल सा फॉर्मूला बना रखा है कि tips to identify automatable task, any task which fulfills this 3R framework. और वो रूल बेस्ड है, रिपीटेटिव है एंड रिसोर्स कंज्यूमिंग है. शॉर्ट में एक्सप्लेन करूँ तो कोई भी काम जो रूल बेस्ड है, जैसे हम लोग को इफ दिस देन दैट, इफ एल्स वाला जो क्लॉज जिसमें लग सकता है, जिसमें हमें ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस वाला काम नहीं चाहिए, तो रूल बेस्ड वर्क में इट्स अ वेरी गुड यूज केस फॉर बिल्डिंग डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन. सेकंड इज रिपीटेटिव होना चाहिए, वो काम हमें बार बार करना पड़ता है. एंड सेकंड इज रिसोर्स कंज्यूमिंग, वहां पे ज्यादा टाइम लग रहा है, बहुत बहुत रिसोर्स लग रहा है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी और इन टर्म्स ऑफ मैन पावर. So any work where you are spending a lot of time and it is a rule based task, you can identify and then you can start with that. है ना? Because I'm a big believer that knowledge सिर्फ आप आज एक वेबिनार में आए हो, आप इसको सिर्फ देखोगे समझोगे, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा unless you implement it. है ना? So the main thing is कि आप कल ऑफिस में जाकर इस चीज को कोशिश करो कि जो भी हमने सीखा था कैसे मैं इम्प्लीमेंट करूँ. So and that will be the goal as well. So that is why we should try on implementation. So let's start watching the demo. है ना? So जो एजेंडा हमने शेयर किया था, विल गो वन बाय वन. एंड ठीक है, सबसे पहले वो डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशंस आई विल शो व्हिच वी क्रिएटेड फॉर द जीएसटी थिंग. ठीक है. अब आई विल रन अ फ्यू कमांड्स, यू माइट नॉट बी फैमिलियर कि ये कैसे है. सो लेट्स बियर विद मी फॉर सम टाइम एंड देन विल गो स्टेप बाय स्टेप. तो यहाँ आप देखोगे एक मैंने कोड रन किया यहाँ पर छोटा सा, एंड यहाँ पर एक डेस्कटॉप एप्लीकेशन आ गया. सिमिलर टू जैसे हम कोई EXE फाइल से कुछ डाउनलोड करते हैं अपने सिस्टम में, फिर नेक्स्ट 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 फिनिश करके करते, फिर ऐप सा कुछ बनता है, डबल क्लिक करते तो ऐसे कुछ दिखता है ना, कि हम कुछ बना रहे तो बटन आ रहे हैं, ब्राउज बटन है, ये है. नाउ लेट्स डू अ स्मॉल डेमो. है ना? इट इज अ GSTR1 जेसन टू एक्सेल कन्वर्ट करने के लिए. ठीक है. सपोज आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ जेसन फाइल्स एंड आई वांट टू कन्वर्ट इट टू एक्सेल. I'll do browse and let me search for some JSON files because I have a few JSON. अभी किसी एक को convert करता हूँ मैं. So I'm selecting one file and being open, then convert JSON to Excel. On clicking it gives a dialog box जैसे कोई ऐप में आता है ना, number of files selected 1, okay, and something is running, and यहाँ आप देखोगे 2 files create हो गए. And then it gives a dialog box. The Excel files were extracted and kept in this below path. Okay. So now you can see it's a basically a desktop application. ठीक है, कोई भी हम ऐप डाउनलोड करते हैं. And यहाँ पर आप देखोगे तो let me just go through how it has created the Excel. तो जो B2B डेटा है जेसन से ये बना दिया, CDNR बना दिया, B2CS ऑल कंबाइन, सारों कंबाइन करके बना दिया. ठीक है. तो वेरी बेसिक यूज केस. नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड हाउ this thing actually, मतलब ये एप्लीकेशन दिखता कैसा है. So now you must have seen मैंने क्या किया, मैंने ये GST ऐप ऑटो के अंदर गया था and I ran this particular file .py फाइल. ठीक है. तो आप देखोगे यहाँ पर ये Python GST app.py फाइल मैंने रन किया था. Okay. So let's see what goes inside this file. So if you look at the code, if you try to understand the code की how the code looks at the front end and the back end part. So जो हमें ये आगे दिख रहा है, this we call as a front end. ठीक है. तो ये front end वाला काम है जहाँ पर हमें जो यूजर को दिखता है, एंड बैक एंड इज बेसिकली जो पीछे का लॉजिक उसने यूज किया. तो जेसन को एक्सेल में बदलना है तो पहले B2B को वो बाइफरकेट करेगा, फिर सबको रोज कॉलम में अरेंज करेगा, तो वो सारे लॉजिक बैक एंड का कोड का पार्ट है. तो ये सब जो आपको कोड दिख रहा है जहां पर हमने ये किया है, दिस ऑल आर द बैक एंड लॉजिक्स, जहां पर हमने उसको लॉजिक दिया कि कैसे प्रोसेस करना है हर एक फंक्शंस के थ्रू. एंड इन करंट टाइम इट्स वेरी इजियर टू मेक दिस कोड बिकॉज ChatGPT एंड ऑल हमें वो कोड बनाना सिखा देती है. So you'll see all these functions whichever are there, these all are the back end logics, जहां पर हमने उसका लॉजिक डिफाइन किया कि उसको कन्वर्ट कैसे करना है. नाउ हियर कम्स द फ्रंट एंड पार्ट, जहां पर हमने उसका लेआउट बताया है सेलेक्ट फाइल्स, जो भी चीजें आपको यहाँ पर दिख रही होती है, सेलेक्ट फाइल्स, मैं थोड़ा सा अंडरस्टैंडेबल वे में तो ट्राई करता हूँ एक्सप्लेन करने का, कि वी हैव डन GSTR1 लेआउट इज देयर, जिसमें एक बटन होगा, एक टेक्स्ट होगा, सेलेक्ट फाइल्स, इनपुट का एक जगह होगा, एंड देन फाइल ब्राउज का एक बटन होगा, जो कि ये फाइल ब्राउज का बटन है, ठीक है। देन हमने बोला एक बटन होगा कंबाइन R1 जेसन का, कंबाइन R1 एक्सेल का, कंबाइन JS21 एक्सेल, ये जो बटन आ रहे हैं, तो दिस ऑल आर रिटन, ठीक है ना, एक कोड के फॉर्म में बस लिखा हुआ है। एंड दिस एप्लीकेशन जो हमें दिखता है, दिस इज नथिंग बट जस्ट दिस सेट ऑफ फाइल, दिस सेट ऑफ टेक्स्ट, ये सिर्फ TXT फाइल्स है, जो कि 10 KB या 12 KB का होगा। जब आप उसको पाइथन के थ्रू रन करते हो, नॉर्मली अगर मैं आपको ये फाइल दे दूंगा तो आपका में रन नहीं होगा, बिकॉज यू नीड अ इंटरप्रेटर, एक पाइथन कोड चाहिए होगा जो इस कोड को इस फॉर्म में लेकर आ पाए। सो दिस थ्री आर द GSTR 2B लेआउट, GSTR रेको लेआउट, जैसा आपको 2B रेको का ये लेआउट मिल गया, एंड हमने डिफाइन किया। वंस वी हैव डिफाइंड दिस फ्रंट एंड पार्ट, जहां हमने बोल दिया कि डिजाइन कैसा दिखना है, देन सेकंड कम्स पार्ट जहां पर हम लिखेंगे इवेंट को, कि जब कोई बटन प्रेस होगा तो क्या करना है। तो हियर वी हैव कम टू द पार्ट ऑफ इफ इवेंट कंबाइन R1 जेसन, इफ इवेंट कंबाइन R1 एक्सेल, इफ इवेंट कंबाइन जेसन एक्सेल। तो आप देखोगे अब अभी मैंने सिर्फ इसी का कोड लिखा है कि सिर्फ जेसन टू एक्सेल अगर होता है तो उसको क्या करना है, उसको GSTR1 टू एक्सेल का एक कमांड रन करना है, एंड देन इट विल डू द एक्सेल। बाकी सब में कोई कमांड डाला हुआ नहीं है। So in this way, you will see this GSTR1 JSON to Excel is one function, जो कि एक backend function हो गया, जो कि run होगा when this event gets triggered. So now this is about the code part, how the code looks like, and it's a simple 20 KB or 30 KB का file. Now let's go something into how this thing was created. I just give a small demo of how the a demonstration was done to ChatGPT as well, कि ChatGPT के अंदर हमने कैसे चीजों को किया था। ओपन दैट। So the first step was like I created this design. So if you see, this design is created using the Excel shapes. ठीक है ना, अगर आपको कोई भी एक बेसिक ऐप का भी अगर सेव करना है तो आप पहले ये शेप्स के थ्रू बना सकते हो, जो आपका एक्सेल के अंदर रहता है। एक्सेल शेप्स के थ्रू आपने डिजाइन बना दिया कि कैसा डिजाइन चाहिए मेरे को। नाउ यू हैव टू प्रॉम्प्ट टू ChatGPT, है ना, एंड सिंपली यू विल गिव दिस डिजाइन एंड यू विल से कि आई नीड अ कोड व्हिच विल गिव मी दिस फ्रंट एंड, है ना, ये फ्रंट एंड वाला मेरे को डिजाइन चाहिए। सो ChatGPT अब कभी भी ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपको सीधा पूरा ऐप बन के दे दे, है ना। ChatGPT कांट गिव द एंटायर ऐप, सो यू हैव टू गिव अस स्टेप बाय स्टेप। तब देखोगे तो डेमो फाइल V1, दिस वाज द आउटपुट गिवन बाय ChatGPT, ओनली 40 लाइंस ऑफ कोड, ठीक है। द कोड विच वी वर लुकिंग एट, इट वाज अ 940 लाइंस, ठीक है। सो द 940 लाइंस ऑफ कोड नेवर गेट्स रिटन इन द फर्स्ट गो, है ना। वो स्टेप्स कैसे होता है उसका, लाइक V1 में इट इज 40 लाइंस ऑफ कोड, ठीक है। नाउ लेट्स जस्ट रन दिस 40 लाइंस। जब 40 लाइन से रन करेंगे तो कैसा दिखेगा। Let me just run this demo file V1. तो अगर आप ये देखोगे, ये कोड को रन करूं मैं, तो सिर्फ 40 लाइंस में भी आपको सेम टू सेम देखने को मिल रहा है। द ऐप लुक्स काइंड ऑफ सिमिलर, ठीक है। यहाँ पे सेलेक्ट फाइल्स है, यू कैन सी द ऐप इज नथिंग बट जो फ्रंट एंड होता है वो सिर्फ इतना सा लिखने से काम हो जाएगा ना। इट्स नॉट कि 900 लाइंस ऑफ कोड इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर एन ऐप, जस्ट 40 लाइंस इज गिविंग मी a decent looking application where I can click on the button। कुछ होगा नहीं बिकॉज मैंने अभी तक बैकएंड को इंटीग्रेट नहीं किया, मैंने अभी तक बताया नहीं कि उस इवेंट में जब क्लिक करना तो क्या करें। सिंस नथिंग इज रिटन, इसलिए नथिंग इज हैपनिंग, बट एटलीस्ट फ्रंट एंड वो स्ट्रक्चर आ चुका है, ठीक है। सो अगेन देन कम्स द पार्ट वेयर आजकल लोग बोलते हैं कि देयर इज नो रिक्वायरमेंट टू लर्न कोडिंग बिकॉज ChatGPT इज डूइंग इट, दैट्स ट्रू, बट अगेन सम बेसिक्स, आपको बेसिक्स आना पड़ेगा बिकॉज many times ChatGPT will give some errors and वो errors को ठीक करने के लिए you need to know some basics of it। तो उसके लिए I will always suggest कि आप है ना अपना काम, जैसे कि आपको कोई पर्टिकुलर चीज बनाना है तो आप वो चीज के स्पेसिफिक सिंटैक्स वगैरह ChatGPT से बेसिक समझ सकते हो, एंड यू इवन यूज ChatGPT टू लर्न इट, है ना। तो यू कैन आस्क दैट कि आई एम अ बिगिनर, तो मेरे को बिगिनिंग से बताओ, दैट इट विल डू। सो ऑलवेज try to learn the syntax as well. ये नहीं कि यार मेरे को सिंपल मैंने देख लिया इतना बड़ा कोड है तो मेरे को समझना नहीं है, लेट्स लेट रन एंड मेरा काम हो गया. जस्ट हैव दैट थिंग, बिकॉज आप अगर बेसिक समझ के रखोगे दैट विल हेल्प यू टू इवन डीबग एंड उसको कुछ थोड़ा बेटर करना है, या यू कैन हैव टू हैव सम अदर यूज केस जहां पर हमें चीजें करनी है. तो ये V1 हमने बताया कि हमने V1 में 40 लाइन्स ऑफ कोड था. उसमें आप देखोगे इसमें अलग अलग, जैसे कि इसको क्लिक करने पे कुछ चेंज नहीं हो रहा है ना, तो वो कोड में थोड़ा इश्यू था, तो हमने फिर चैट जीपीटी को एक प्रॉम्प्ट दिया कि वी हैव टू लाइक इम्प्रूव इट. देन इफ यू लुक एट द सेकंड कोड व्हिच इज V2, so here the actual front
ड्रॉप हो गया क्या उनका? अच्छा अच्छा, बैक.
क्या हुआ?
वो बीच में हैंग हो गया था.
अच्छा, मेरी वॉइस आ रही थी अब?
हाँ.
अच्छा,
ओके, एक जन का रिक्वेस्ट है कि हो सके तो इंग्लिश में आप बोलिए.
okay, ठीक है, no issue, will continue English only. So you can see that the 40 lines of code which we had written, it got converted to 65 lines of code once we did this correction. Okay, we wanted that as and when the tab is gets selected, this thing should change, and this prompt is given to ChatGPT only, and that will give me the code. Now third is to identify, to add that button. Ki the button ko, when we click on the button, what should happen? Okay, so that function, the basic function, if you look at that thing, this 40 lines have been created by ChatGPT in the first thing, in the first go. Now we added this function that when we click on the button, what should happen? So here validate files if event. Now we added the backend portion which we call. Abhi tak, we were doing with the front end, buttons were not working. Now we have added this particular thing that when we click on the button, what should happen? So then we have added validate files. Simple validate कर लो files को, and validate files has some meaning that if nothing is selected and it will say कि ना please select at least one files. So something will happen. So let's run this V3 and let's see what will happen now. So अभी तक भी nothing is happening. Okay, when we click on the button. Now we have added a third, the second layer, which is the backend code. So let me go with the V3. Now when we have this thing, now if I click on combine, so now I'm getting an error. So now the button are live. We have added the live to those buttons. So it is saying please select at least two JSON files, because it is a combine R1 JSON. So when we combine, we need two files. So that is where it is saying at least two files select. If it is a convert JSON, please select at least one JSON file. So we have added this live. We have added this logic to all these to all the buttons. That when we do combine, please do these files. Now, if you say browse, and if I select one file, and if I do this, it will say number of files selected. Files is this. Okay, so this much it has started to do, and this logic is also written with ChatGPT till now. Okay, so till now, what we did, the 64 lines of code that got converted to 115 lines, and we also added this contact us button and watch demo button. And when we click on this, we did this. When we click on it, something should open, and when we click on this watch demo, something should open. So some YouTube channel or something will open. Okay, so this much logic ChatGPT has written. Now the code thing comes where you have to add a logic of converting GSTR1 JSON to Excel. Okay, so how do we get this code? How to convert JSON to Excel? Now there might be some cases where if you're using ChatGPT Plus subscription or some other advanced AI application, you can simply give the JSON file to it and you can ask it, I want it to convert it to Excel. It might give you a code. But the second better option is to use GitHub. So many of you might not be familiar, or I just want to ask, how many of you have heard of this thing, GitHub, as a repository? Anyone in the chat written that they have heard of GitHub? Let me just see if I can open this. I'll just open github.com. When you open github.com, even if you don't have an account, you can search for any code that you might like. Like if I search for a simple download indent indent paper, you can get some. All these are like, and you can also use language Python, so that since we're working on Python only. So GitHub is also a very good repository where you can get many such code, useful code, where you can do some task of whatever you want to automate. And if you don't find anything in GitHub, then the second option is definitely ChatGPT. You can go to ChatGPT and you can get the code of what you want to do. So in that way, once you have had enough, once you have written the code till here, then when you want to do a particular action with that button, you can simply add that function, that what you want to do when you press that button, and then you can get that activity done. So this is the final demo file where the demo 4 is created, where we have added all that function. So now you can see it's a 600 lines of code, right? Because now we have added all those GSTR1, the converting of JSON to Excel and all that functions, whatever backend logic is required, that one is given, so that so that we can convert that GSTR1 file to Excel. So in that way, if you see that the entire desktop application, whichever we saw that, which looks like an application, is nothing but just 400 or 500 lines of code, which can be written using ChatGPT and many other platforms. Okay, for the front end and the back end. So now, so this was the explanation of how the front end and back end things work, and what actually goes behind the scenes when you are working with an application. Now, finally, I'll do one just one live thing of how we created one application of. I'll just show you the ChatGPT code which we used for creating this application. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Can we wait 5 minutes for the doubts till here?
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. So anyone has any doubts till here? So basically, just to give a brief summary, step by step, Pranavji has shown that first we can build the backend, and then one by one, backend ka buttons. From the backend buttons, we are giving the actions to the buttons, and from those actions, again, what will be the repercussion? Like this, step by step, you have to build. One thing I will 100% agree with Pranavji, that in one go it will not happen. You have to break down the processes into 5 or 6 parts, and then whatever errors we are getting, we have to give back to ChatGPT only, that this code is running now, this is the error, or rectify this. And now it has become more easy. You can just click the image and upload that image also, that this is the problem, this is not coming like this. So much of explanation is not required. Like in the first step, what Pranavji did was that he created a this suppose just image of what he wanted. So you
Yeah.
don't have to explain that I want this at right, left, center, all this. Simply an image, and yeah, this I was talking about this. So he has given the image, so it has become more easy. You don't have to spend like writing I want this left, right, and all this. Right? So anyone has any doubts?
Okay, ठीक है, no issues. If anyone has a doubt, they can write in chat or they can also ask at the end. So I was just showing one live demo which I just created for this.
One doubt is there in the chat: visualization, stepping, and the use of decision tree. Uh, Hari Kishanji, if you can elaborate the doubt. Do you want me to unmute yourself?
Stepping, use of.
1 minute. Hari Krishna. 1 minute. Yeah, Hari Kishanji, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the doubt.
The doubt actually, how to visualize the problem first, and then how to make steps so that we can form a form that the way in which the speaker has made, and then how to use, how to make a decision tree out of that, so that whatever we have to ask to AI, we can go ahead with. So there should be some specific way of approaching the thing so that logical mind works with the problem.
Right. Okay, ठीक है. So I get your doubt that the how the use case should be identified, that for what we need to build the app and for how what design we have to do and what steps to follow. So I'll just give this small demonstration which I wanted to show. Like I just did a ChatGPT code of this much, that I need to help in creating a simple desktop application GUI where we have a simple browse button, and clicking on this browse button will be the user will be able to select the PDF files. Then there should be a combined PDF button below that. Please share the code for this. So it's a simple user case where it wants I don't want to upload my files to I Love PDF and all those online sites. I want something so that I can do it locally without internet connection. I can build something locally. Okay. So now if you see the code which is given by ChatGPT, so as it is, I've just copied it, and actually I pasted it over here. And now if you look at this application, this is demo1.py. If I am to share how this looks like. So this is using entirely the code which ChatGPT gave me. Okay, so Python and then 1.py. So it's a very simple. This is a very simple thing. Okay, there's no fancy input box and output box and all that, because we just want our work to be done. So one browse PDF files and combine PDF files button. So I'll do a browse PDF files and post that. I'll just select one PDF. So there are 4 pages, 4 PDFs. I've selected it. I'll do open. Now 4 files got selected. Okay. I'll say combined PDF. It will ask me where to save it. I'll say here save a combined PDF. It will save combined successfully done. Okay. So it is a very small application which I created just by giving a simple prompt. If you look at this PDF which got created, if I open this, so page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, that got combined. So what I'm trying to say is the use case for someone will be very different on what you are doing on a daily basis. Like I many times say कि आपको अगर एक simple सा, if you have to create a very simple desktop application, that I have a button and using that button it will simply navigate me to a certain web URL. मतलब GST app, all those apps का simple button बनाना. So you can start with that thing only. That I've created an application where if I click on it, it will go to a particular link. Just give ChatGPT that command that I want to create such a app, and if you want to bifurcate it, okay, finance related, tax related, GST related, income tax related, all those tabs you can create. So that is how you get started. So you can start with something which is as simple as this, and you can start with what you do on a day-to-day basis. So as you ask how we will go to a dysentery thing, it's all about what task you are doing, which is repetitive and you have to do it multiple times a day, and it will take a lot of energy, which I said resource consuming, rule based and repetitive. So any task which you have been doing, identify those tasks, start small, start with something basic looking like this, and then using that you can again create more and more code, you can add more and more code, but to add that code, make sure that you also understand the basics. Like if I just give a small of this code is a 45 lines code, okay, but you have to understand how things are working. So here there is a small class initiation that has been done for a button. Then we have a browse files of only PDF file should be selected, so that is where this condition is given, and you can understand all this by using ChatGPT. आप सबको you send one line to ChatGPT and say how it is working, what is the logic of this, and then when you want to change it, you can change it. Like if you want it should combine PDF as well as some Excel files, you can do it in the same way, that you can have a function of combined PDF, then you can have a function of combined Excel. Then you can in here, when you have writing a button, instead of writing this one button, you will just copy this, and then like you can ask ChatGPT, you can just paste it, and you can have another button which will have for combined Excel as well. So this is how you get started. And building apps or building desktop app is all about that any task which you have been doing on your computer and you feel like you are doing it many times, you can write a code, get the Python code to do it, make a front end, because Python code looks very complex. If I show something like this to anyone, that is very complex, rather than if I show something like this, yeah, just click on these two buttons and the thing will be done. So that is where this front end can be leveraged, and you can create very desktop applications where you can do perform a lot of activities. So I believe that much from my side to say. And yeah, as I said, anything, any issues or anything you feel like understanding that how we can use it now our day-to-day working. Yeah, feel free to connect. I'm available on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Lokesh
Okay.
has been contact.
One doubt I have.
Yes, Lokesh.
Suppose you are running the app through Python. Okay, you are opening CMD and running the Python file. So if I want to share, I have to share so many things and code and everything. So how to is, I mean, I don't have perfect idea how we can convert the file to exe that the second person whom I am sharing, suppose I have created some app and I want to share with others. So I cannot give the Python file and everything, right? So is there any process that we can convert it into a single click app, like normally what we see our
Got it.
Uber app or anything?
Yeah, like how we can create it to an exe file, right?
Yes.
Next install करके हो जाए. So there are two things. First, I would say for any person, it is like it's a very 20 KB file, like the file which I showed. It's a 3 KB, 4 KB, 20 KB. But when I create it to an application, it will become something around 40 MB or 60 MB. So first option, which I always say is, there's no point in hiding the code. है ना, code आप अगर बोलोगे कि मैं code बहुत proprietary, I want to hide this code, it's not a very good approach. Usually, if I have written a code, I will simply give the code and I will install Python in his system so that it will directly work. That is how I go around it. That you can directly run the system, you can directly run the code in that person's laptop itself. You just give the code. That's the first approach. But if you don't want to do it, or if you feel like he's not techy enough that he can do all those things, then second option is you can convert this to an exe file. And you can go to YouTube video and you'll find a video where file to exe converter you will get.
Screen is not visible.
I'll just go to that video and I'll share the screen. Okay, like I can okay, so if you look at the YouTube, also there are a lot of videos around it, which will tell you that how that exe file can be created. Okay, so there are a lot of things. There is one setup compiler which I usually use. Using that, something can be done. So I think this video and this video, that the setup compiler, तो हम देखते हैं next text finish करके आता पूरा proper. So such type of exe can be created using that .py file. So just have to use that one .py file which I said, and that py file will get converted to that exe extension, and you can simply give that exe extension and someone can install. But again, having said that, I would say as people get more and more aware, no one will want to install something which is coming through a third party. So that is one security threat which everyone will have. And as people get more aware, abhi to you and I are asking for an application that give me direct application. But as in we move to an era where such apps are being created by anybody, like you, I, anyone can create such an app. So people will be more cautious about who is the app is, who is the creator of application, and how reliable it is. So either you will have that code signing certificate that will be required, or the best thing is to share the code directly. If you are authentically and you are just trying to help someone, you can definitely share the code directly. Yeah, this is the code. You can use this, and even if you want to make some modifications, the person can do it, right? So the first one approach is something which I always prefer. But yeah, if you want to create an exe, then as I showed, there are a lot of videos, and this application can be converted to an exe easily.
So all the things, suppose we want to install some libraries and everything, all this can be done in one click.
All this can be done in all this can be done, and all these are open source. There's no any license or fees that you have to pay. Everything is free, and you can definitely, like, you need to have the basic knowledge of how things to be done, how to install packages, and so some basic understanding has to be there. But yeah, after that you can this file installer and all those applications which I showed, that can be done in your own system without any third party tool. Like, simply can.
So anyone has any more doubts? It was a small class, but actually I will say that it is very, very detailed one. Whatever Pranavji has told, he has clearly bifurcated how we can do the front end, how we can do the back end, what is a front end, what is a back end, and step by step, 5 different ways, like how we go step by step to create the files, right? Baki, what I will like to add is you have to think what is the thing that you are doing repetitive basis. So that and the process of that also has to be determined by you, right? One thing that I do, because I have also created some app, but absolutely I had no idea how to start. So I asked ChatGPT only that this is the idea. I want to build something like this. Suppose for bank audit. So what are the processes that are staying in the bank audit? Which of them can I automate? Right? How much time is it going to save? So ChatGPT is very, very wide and something really very amazing thing, right? So it can help you start. Definitely it will take a lot of time, right? As much as you keep doing it, the time taken will reduce. The first time that I did, it took almost 2.5 months to create one tab, right? 2.5 months I was continuously trying. Failures, again I'm trying like this. Then chat gpt is also improving. That time there were no images. Today we can post the images. I want something like this. So that thing is very, very great. I'll say that it is improving day by day. And today, whatever I took 2.5 months, now I take 2.5 hours to do the same thing. So practice is required, and wherever I am stuck, I only ask ChatGPT that this is the problem. Now give me some solution. Right? Its knowledge base is not limited to one application. Whether you want ChatGPT for Python, ChatGPT for VBA, PDF, Excel, everything is there. Everything. You want to create front end app through Google Sheets, you can do that. So every type of thing is there. Just you have to try, right? So anyone has any more doubts? Like definitely Pranavji is there to solve. Anyone wants to say anything? I will allow participants to unmute yourself.
And just one thing, like CA people are usually known for the skills. Okay, then once ask, then I'll complete.
Yeah, anyone is saying something? No.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Everything is this is possible in Chat GPT only. No other AI tool.
It is possible in any tool, like you can do it Gemini, you can use any tool which can write you code. So the basic what you can see is we are just writing code, and the code is written in Python language. So any chat, any like there are a lot of tools right now, and वही मैं कह रहा था Claude AI, Microsoft Copilot is there, and now what I've taught you right now is just a desktop application. The very basic thing is you have a Python installed in your desktop application, and using the Python you are adding some code, and with code logic से you are doing modification to a file like JSON to Excel. It's just a simple file modification. Simply you can do merging of Excel, splitting of Excel, or whatever file you want to do it locally. Now in the current scenario we have Lovable, we have Bot, and we have a lot Bolt, and we have a lot of such tools which can help you create web applications as well. Like you, without having any coding knowledge, you can simply create a website which will do some of these activities, and you can host that website into your domain, and आप उसको एक domain देकर, and anyone all over the world can use it. But my thing is that CAs are always known for the technical knowledge of tax and finance and accounts, all these things, and so that is something that they should leverage on. But along with it, the volume is increasing in the day-to-day work, right? So when they use any application, when they buy a third-party software, this having this basic understanding is very important. Ki what actually is happening in the base, and like back में लोग logic, what logic are they using. So once you have that understanding, then gradually you can move to a situation where also you can create web application of your own. So start small, start something very basic like getting all your URLs into one place and having one desktop application where buttons are there and you can click on that URL. It's a collection of all the URLs. Then you can start with something that through a URL you can fetch some data and you can keep it on Excel, and that Excel you can mail it to something, mail it to someone. So let's start small, then you can add more and more activities, and there you slowly try to get the understanding of how desktop application is working and how web applications, how their the clients, the client and the server thing, how does these things work. So
Sir,
some,
you had created this code and you had inserted in this Excel. What?
yeah, matlab, the JSON to Excel thing, the JSON file, we read the JSON file, and whatever JSON tables were there,
No, no, I'm not telling that, sir. I'm not telling that. You had given the command to Chat GTP,
Mm-hmm.
and Chat GTP has created a code,
Mm-hmm.
and that code you had inserted in the Excel. No, that I'm asking, sir.
No, 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 no,
Not
no, no.
Excel.
No, that's not in Excel. It's in the, it's in a, no, it's a normal TXT file, but that TXT file has a .py extension, and I have Python installed in my computer, and that is where that file is being able to run. So if you see that
Okay.
.py file was there, na, it's a like a .txt file, है ना? But that's a .txt होता है, वैसे .py file है. But since
Okay.
I have Python installed, that Python interpreter is using that py and it is doing the work. Nothing
Okay.
out of an Excel.
So we have to install Python in our this PC, right?
Right, right. Yeah, we have to install Python. We have to install many other libraries that come with Python. So all those things have to be installed, and then
Because
we
some
can.
of the coding I had done in Excel also, but this was I was not getting it out. We had done so. I have to install the first priority is to Python here.
Yeah, you have to have
Then it
Python
will
in
work.
your system first.
Okay, thank you.
Because Excel has too much limitations. I think sir has tried Excel VBA. VBA has too much limitations regarding especially PDF. PDF parsing and everything, it is impossible in Excel. So that's why Python is a very growing language and it has suddenly gained so much importance. Suddenly everybody wants to learn Python. That's why we have started that anybody who can teach Python. So we can create the app through Python. Through Excel, it is little bit tough.
I guess one can start with Excel VBA coding at the starting, and then gradually move. Whenever he face some difficulty, then he can move to Python. Like depends on use case. There are a lot of Power Query tools. The main motive is that you should have some automation curiosity within you, that you have to automate something, and then that's where the thing started. Whatever things you are doing, start with VBA, start with Power Query, start with normal Excel application, Excel add-ins and all, and then you can gradually move to doing your own coding, doing the Python coding, building desktop application, then more parts about moving to web application building and all. So that's a gradual step-by-step process. So the first root is the foundation is to have that inquisitiveness of automating something and getting more efficient with things.
Excellent, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So anyone has any more doubt regarding app creation, any other language, or like how do we start? It has been perfectly depicted how do we start, right? But still anyone has any doubts, has any tried anything and not successful? Where were you lacking? Like these things also can be discussed.
हेलो
Yeah. We have Chirag ji.
राहुल जी राहुल जी आपसे एक चीज पूछनी थी एपीआई अगर किसी का है फॉर एग्जांपल एनएससी बीएससी का एपीआई है फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है तो उसका आपने वो कैसे पता चल सकते हैं कि इसमें क्या क्या आपने डिटेल निकाल सकते हैं और क्या चीजें कैसे इसको कर सकते हैं
जो आपके एपीआई प्रोवाइडर होंगे उनका हमेशा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होगा.
अब जैसे इसका एनएससी का है पर उसमें डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कैसे निकालते हैं वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है डिटेल्स
डॉक्यूमेंटेशन
कैसे निकालते हैं
पब्लिक होता है. कोई भी अगर कोई बड़ी कंपनी या कोई भी एक अच्छी लेवल की कंपनी है तो उसका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पब्लिक होगा. एंड अगर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पब्लिक नहीं है तो उस एपीआई के अंदर क्या क्या फीचर्स है, आई डोंट थिंक यू एबल टू गेट एनीवेयर. आपको उसी से पूछना पड़ेगा कि आपने क्या क्या यूआरएल्स है, क्या क्या राउट्स है, उसका पैरामीटर्स क्या है, उसके हेडर्स में क्या क्या ऑथेंटिकेशन डालना है. तो दैट इज अ मतलब उसका एक प्रॉपर एक एसओपी होता है कि आपको ऐसे ऐसे कोड में हेडर्स के थ्रू पोस्ट रिक्वेस्ट भेजना है एंड आपको ऐसे जेसन रेस्पॉन्स मिलेगा. आपने ऐसा भेजा तो ऐसा रिस्पॉन्स मिलेगा, वैसा भेजा तो वैसा रिस्पॉन्स मिलेगा। तो एवरीथिंग इज डॉक्यूमेंटेड, तो वो डॉक्यूमेंट तो आपको उस एपीआई प्रोवाइडर से लेना ही पड़ेगा, विदाउट दैट यू वोंट बी एबल टू फाइंड ऑन योर ओन।
तो दूसरा चीज पूछना था कि किसी भी वेबसाइट पे डेटा है, उसको अपने को वेब स्क्रैपिंग करना है, तो क्या क्या वे रहते हैं अपने कर सकते हैं?
वेब स्क्रैपिंग के लिए अगेन फर्स्ट इज लैंग्वेज सेटिंग। अगर आप ना पाइथन में कंफर्टेबल तो पहले आप वो सेट कर लो, हमको पाइथन में करना है। विद इन पाइथन देन दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ मॉड्यूल्स, यू हैव सेलेनियम एज अ मॉड्यूल, यू हैव ब्यूटीफुल सूप एज अ मॉड्यूल, VS4। तो ये दो तीन मॉड्यूल, रिक्वेस्ट एक मॉड्यूल है आपका ना, गेट रिक्वेस्ट वगैरह देने के लिए। तो ये दो तीन मॉड्यूल्स हैं, इस मॉड्यूल्स को यूज करके यू कैन डू द वेब स्क्रैपिंग। एंड वेब स्क्रैपिंग टूल का सबसे आपको वो बेस्ट वे ये रहता है कि आप उसके जो HTML कोड है उसको ChatGPT को पहले दे दो कि ये कोड आ रहा है, वाइट राइट क्लिकिंग इंस्पेक्ट करके वो कोड दे दो कि ये कोड है, अब मेरे को ये पर्टिकुलर जगह को स्क्रैप करना है, ये पर्टिकुलर चीज स्क्रैप करनी है। एंड एंड देन and then the ChatGPT respond in a better way कि आप कैसे, and then the code you can get from ChatGPT itself and you can do the scripting.
ठीक है, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Okay. ठीक है, I guess it was a great session. Thanks to Lokesh ji and thanks everyone for coming. And I hope you are able to learn something around automation and you all will be implementing some at any small level also, building of desktop applications or going around coding in Python.
Okay.
So,
Thank you so much. It was really amazing. Really, for those who are at beginner level, they can go to level 2, level 3 very easily. Right? I can understand that beginner level, someone, if someone is there, they are having issue. But that's why I have tried my best कि पहले एक beginner level class था. So I have also given the links and everything. And one more important announcement कि API related बहुत सारे doubts आते हैं कि API कैसे integrate करें. So next class is very special. We'll do something regarding API integrations. So before that, I just want to thank Pranab ji once again. Uh, जितना भी मैं बोलूँ कि बढ़िया क्लास था कम होगा, बिकॉज द डिटेल्ड एक्सप्लेनेशन यू हैव गिवन, जो मतलब जानता है वो पहचान पाएगा कि इट वॉज वेरी प्रिसाइज एंड वेरी अंडरस्टैंडेबल। राइट, टाइम मतलब मुझे लग ही नहीं रहा इतना जल्दी हम लोग ने खत्म कर दिया, बट एवरीथिंग वॉज वेल अंडरस्टूड, वेल प्रेजेंटेड। राइट, दिस थिंग, दोज हु कैन अंडरस्टैंड, आई मस्ट से that this is no doubt about this. So you are really great. Yes.
much. Thank you, Lokesh.
Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you everyone, those who have joined. I hope you have learned something and please start implementing it. The purpose is that we implement. सीखना is not, सीख तो कहीं से भी सकते हैं, but we support, हम लोग रहेंगे, प्रणब जी is there in the group. I will share the LinkedIn ID and everything. So start implementing and see what errors you are getting and where you are stopping. उस चीज को दूर करेंगे तो we can do whatever we want. ठीक है, so we'll end that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much everyone, those who have joined. Thank you.